Hey guys, it's me, Nurse Lillian. Some of you may recognize me from coming to my office when you're not feeling well, when you're hurt, or you just simply need a band aid. Before we get started, I would like to thank you for taking time away from your studies to learn about some common myths when it comes to the cold, the flu, the flu vaccinations, and some remedies. The month of October is the beginning of a bitter cold and flu season. In trying to stay well and get a better understanding of how to do so, there are a few questions from some of your peers that I received, and I would like to address them today. Our first question comes from Ashlyn. She's a seventh grader here at Clear Creek. Ashlyn asks, whenever I get a cold or a fever, my mom believes I should cover up and sweat it out. Even though I don't feel well, I still hate having to lay there all bundled up and sweating. My sheets are all wet from the sweat, and I'm just not comfortable. She swears that it's the best way to get rid of a cold. Is there any truth to that? Well, Ashlyn, I want to let you know that as growing up as a child, I had to live by the same thing. Although many parents and grandparents still swear by this, it's actually a myth. Sorry, Mom. Even though a person may feel that this will get rid of aches, pains, and the stuffy nose that are associated with the cold and the flu, the reality is our bodies heat up on their own from the inside naturally to get rid of illness and infection. Students' studies have shown that forcing the body to heat up and sweat does not make any difference at all. The most common side effects, such as mild dehydration and discomfort that you get from a fever, are generally harmless and they are treatable, and they're usually no cause for major concern. The best way to combat the feeling of discomfort is to drink extra fluids, take off a few clothes, and try not to move around as much. Popsicles and iced drinks are also helpful since the body is losing lots of its fluid from the fever by sweating. Clothing should also be kept to a minimum because the body loses most of its heat through the skin. Our next question comes from Evan. Evan asks, I've seen a lot of companies are advertising for people to get their flu shots. Do you think it's too early for that, being that it does not get cool in Texas here around mid to late November? Well, Evan, getting the flu vaccine is as soon as possible in your area is a good way to defend yourself against the flu. Flu season is usually at its highest between December and February, but activity can usually last as long as May. It normally takes about 2 weeks after the vaccination is received for it to provide the protection needed to ward yourself against the flu. Until this time frame passes, you are still at risk for getting the flu, which is why it's better to protect yourself as soon as possible. Our next question comes from Cameron, who is an eighth grader. And Cameron asks, I am not a fan of getting the flu shot because whenever I do, I feel like I get the flu. I naturally blame that on getting the flu vaccine. How much truth is there to that feeling? Cameron, the flu vaccine is considered an inactive virus, which means that you're not actually being injected with the flu. There are some side effects that are associated with getting the flu vaccine and make you feel like you're catching the flu. Some of the milder effects include aches, nausea, a little soreness, redness, or some swelling. The side effects are your body's natural reaction to responding to the vaccine. It is a way for your body to build antibodies you may need to fight the flu should you come in contact with the virus. Another explanation is that catching a cold right after getting the flu shot could be completely coincidental. There is a factor that is a factor that cannot be measured, but is often overlooked when someone feels ill. Greater here, Clear Creek. Kaylee asks, my grandmother always says, feed a cold, starve a fever. What does that actually mean? And is there any truth to that? Kaylee, that is a very old saying, but it's pretty contradictory. One thing to note is a cold is accompanied by a fever. So if you feed a fever, how can you starve a cold at the same time? It's rather impossible, don't you think? This saying may date back to around 1574 when much wasn't known about ways to cure a fever. At the time, it was believed that eating more would activate more bodily functions, which would lead to the body working harder and the fever not going away. If less food was eaten, the fever did not have anything to feed on, so therefore it was believed in order to get rid of a fever, you would have to eat less or starve it. It is actually now a proven fact that if you eat less, your body will have to work harder to fight the infection, which will leave you weaker for a longer period of time. So I would suggest that if you eat soups and soft foods, which are not hard to swallow, they'll be less rough on your throat if it is sore, and you may feel better faster. When it comes to colds, years ago it was believed that colds were caused by a drop in body temperature. This could be helped by drinking or eating more to bring your body temperature back up. The common cold is actually caused by a type of virus referred to as rhinovirus, which simply means that the virus is inhaled through your nose. That is something that a person will not be aware of. So the best way to get rid of a cold is to rest, hydrate, and take your medications as prescribed by your doctor. Our next question comes from Amber, who is in the 7th grade here at Clear Creek. Amber asks,
I'm usually really confident and okay when it comes to shots, but when it comes to the flu shot, I'm a little nervous. I've heard my friends say that getting the flu shot hurts. Is that true?
well, Amber, no is the answer to your question. The flu shot itself does not hurt. You may feel some soreness in the arm for a couple of hours, but nothing major. But just remember to move your arm to keep it from getting stiff and hurting more when you do try to move it. Our last question comes from Charlie, who is a 6th grader. Charlie says,
This weekend I had a pool party, and as soon as I got out of the pool, my dad was saying that I needed to hurry up, go inside, change clothes, and put something on my head so I didn't catch a cold. Please tell me, is there any chance if I could catch a cold from staying outside in wet clothes?
well, Charlie, the answer to your question is no. This goes back to the way a cold virus is spread. Unless someone who has a cold sneezes or coughs close to you while you're outside, still wet from the pool, you will not catch a cold. If you do, then blame it on coincidence and not the wet clothes. You most likely had the cold virus inside your body, and it just happened to get worse the next day. So as a school nurse, I can assure you that wet clothes is not the reason for your cold.
Here are a few common ways to prevent the cold or the flu. Wash your hands, especially after sneezing, or sanitize right away. Get plenty of rest. While you're home, try to go to bed early. If you see someone coughing or sneezing, move away. Please give them time to get themselves together. Keep your hands away from your face. And if you feel sick, stay at home, get plenty of rest, and feel better.
Thank you all for watching my video. I would like to thank you once again for your great questions, and I hope that my information was informative today. Again, I'm Nurse Lillian, and if you have any questions or would you like to come by just to say hi, I'm available. Thank you and have a great day.